All right. So it is Friday, and it's time to work on the Hurdy-Gurdy a little bit more. Had some technical difficulties that kept me from doing everything that I wanted to before the stream, but it is what it is, and I had to reset up my second camera. It had lost a bunch of its settings. Who knows what's going on there. I made some adjustments. I did not turn on the lights in the back here. And it seems like things look quite a bit better because of it. And move this down a bit so that when I'm sitting, I'm more in frame. And I figured out what the long skinny pieces that are in the manual here, or the instructions here, what they are. And I believe that they are the tuning adjusters that go in the neck. So, switch over to the other camera. Should look a bit better now. The waviness in the picture was, I had it set to HDR, and it really just messes about. Real fun to point at like a projector screen. It makes things very psychedelic. So we'll start off here. We've got these pieces. Number 86. Focal range on this lens is super tight. As you can see, it's out of focus here, in focus here. I might actually want to adjust that a little. We can do that on stream, I guess, if I hold it back. So let's see if I can do that real quick. Yeah, I've got 2 viewers. Thanks for watching. Of course, my Twitch is being lovely. Says I have 2 viewers, now down to 1, and my viewer list is completely blank. I guess it is a Friday. Wrong way. Well, that looks quite a bit better. Although, forgive me, I think the shot might be a little too tight. I'm gonna actually back it up a bit and refocus. So I was having issues yesterday keeping everything in frame. There we go. Make sure my webcams are lined up still. And let's do this. So part number 86 should be a bit clearer now. Bunch of these little circles. Says I need 2 of them. So we'll move these pieces out of the way. And interestingly, it says I should wax where these are going. I am currently definitely not convinced that wax is necessary for this. We'll try it without and then see how it goes. So I've got that. Take the knife, set it aside, and then on piece 4, interesting. This is 3. Watch, yep, 4 is on the bottom. So I could have just started from the other end. And it has this 81 and 82. Boy, that's bright. Let's see here. Can I adjust that gain at all? See if that helps. Yeah, that helps show off these pieces a bit. And 81 and 82 are the 2 longer pieces here and here. I could say what the first impression is as far as the shape, but we'll call these battle axes. They kind of have blades here and here, here and here, a long handle. Turn the gain back up on the camera, because this is actually quite a bit more realistic as to the actual coloring of things. So these 2 pieces. Sounds like the other half's having a good time on her stream. I'm glad. Is that enough? Yeah, that's enough to get this piece out. Then boy, these laser cut lines are so fine. It's actually hard to get even the edge of a knife into them sometimes. Set it down with the blade away from you, Ryan. So this one is 82. There is a difference between these pieces. They are exact opposites, and that's because you hold one straight up and down, one flat, and they fit together. Like so. And then we take these 86Ks, and they have a little K label on them. And they go on here. And from the looks of it, okay, I see why they want you to put wax on. I think we can get by without it. When I say the K's both go towards this end. That one went on fine. Let's see if we can... Yeah, listen to that creak. That's a snug fit. If I had waxed it, it would fit, or it would have gone on a little smoother, but I think we'll be okay. And then for the next step, 83 and 84 are the same parts, just a little shorter. And 2 more of that 86K. So we'll go ahead, cut out the 86K, just 2 little tabs. Since these aren't being used as bushings or anything, they're more of just retention rings. You know, kind of like a circlip in a lot of things. Don't have to sand them. Thank goodness. Watching people sand is so entertaining. Get that piece out. Yeah, that's still way too bright. Let's see if we can turn that brightness down a bit. Brightness is nice because it makes it look more realistic, but it also, you lose a lot of detail. If I turn it all the way down, it probably just goes super dark. Yeah. Wonder if I'd take the image adjust, put it to medium brightness, and change my exposure. Turn my gain up. That should be a bit better. I'm still experimenting with this whole setup, so please forgive me. This secondary camera, I think it's nice that it doesn't hunt for focus, but at the same time, I'm not really impressed with the image sensor in it. It wants to be way too contrasty. And the DSP or whatever it is that's doing the image processing for like gain adjustment, wide dynamic range, honestly, it kind of stinks. So we've got more battle axes. Chop, chop, chop. And these fit together. And then we put these rings on. Once again, it shows the letter K. Going towards the tip. Once again, the outside side, the end here, a lot easier to go on than the ring in here. And then, oh, this one does have bushings. Let's see here, 101, 102. So here's some 101s, 101Cs, and a 102. They're on panel 4. So just one 102, according to this. And then we also have 99 and 100, which are an axle. Gently pop out the axles. These axles are kind of interesting. I'll show it to you here in a second. But they have a split down each end. Switch to the other webcam, wait for it to catch up. They have a split. You can kind of see the lines there that are used for spring tension. Oh, a little artifacting from the encoding on this camera. Sorry. Pop out my 102. And this does have sanding and waxing. And these, since they're going to be bushings, I honestly do believe that we will need that. So we'll need 3 out of 4. I noticed that these parts, a lot of them have a little plus beside a part, right where my finger's at. And I believe that that means that that's a spare part. I guess they realize that some of these tinier pieces are so thin they'd be easy to break if you don't take a lot of care. And even this, I'm, you know, with the thin blade of a hobby knife, it's still flexing them quite a bit. Because honestly, this is thin walled pieces of wood. So I'll set that over there because that should be the only a spare part. And we'll grab some sandpaper and sand all of them. See here, I'll start by just taking the knife and cutting down the little remnant of the tab as much as I can. Well, with this mic, the grind of the sandpaper comes through decently. I'm actually going to turn this fan off. We don't need that noise. But it gets quiet in here fast without a fan. Go to this piece, because these tiny pieces are really annoying. Update this video a bit. 2018 Seam Summer Sale started yesterday. Coworker had to vent to me last night. I didn't prepare for it this year. My wallet is so screwed. And I was like, great, I got the email that so many things on my wish list were on sale. And I had forgotten about it. Thanks for reminding me. My wallet hates you. So, I picked up a few games, some things I thought it might be fun to stream or so. So I'm gonna debate on if I want to stream games or not. Probably will. Mostly puzzle games, maybe a little 7 Days to Die. And we've got a decent little server going for 7 days. Nice thing about these laser cut pieces is you can see any spots along the edge you've missed sanding adequately, because the scorching around the perimeter, you'll see the edge here is black or dark brown, and the edge on this piece is quite a bit lighter. You just sand off a lot of the scorching. In case you forgot, this kit comes with some 240 grit sandpaper, which is pretty fine. I'm just using some 320 here that I have. That's kind of a little bit smoother, a little bit finer. And I sand well beyond 320 on a lot of things. If I'm not putting a film forming finish on it like a polyurethane, I'm just doing wax. I'll take it to 600 grit before I wax. Get it nice and smooth. You know, some people do the hand plane thing after sanding to get it to that ultimate smooth. I'm not really good enough with a hand plane. You know, I've tuned my hand planes up decently, but they're not where I want them to be for a finishing pass, especially my hand plane skill level. Paul Sellers has some awesome videos on sharpening, tuning, you know, your hand tools. I see him using a brace a lot instead of a cordless drill. A lot of respect for him on that. That's actually pretty awesome. I used a brace a lot as a kid, as well as a crank drill. I actually like them a lot. They have some nice control aspects. And you definitely build muscles doing it. The annoying thing on these tiny little circular pieces is the radius is so small on them. Even an eighth of a turn sometimes is not enough to adequately sand it. And get a nice even sanded finish all the way around, so I have to check it, touch up the little gaps where I missed sanding. And there's all 4 pieces. So I've got these little wax things that I have from when I tried to make a new wax pellet. Make nice little wax holders. I have to get my hands all gummy. You know, this is beeswax that I'm using. I honestly think that, like, what they sent this with was like a paraffin and beeswax blend, which is probably okay. They both do the same thing. The paraffin wax would make it a little bit softer, a little bit less gummy. I think I might have sanded this one a little too smooth. Not really picking up much wax. So let's wax the big one too. We'll just wax all of them. Honestly, now that this wax is a bit cooler, it's nice. Seems like it's 70 degrees outside. Hello, viewer. Thanks for watching. Oh, that Joshua got in the chat? I definitely sanded these too smooth, but it's a nice 70 degrees out or so. So this wax is not nearly as soft as it usually is when I'm out here working. Their probably original intent was just to use wax to fill in gaps and smooth them over. Since I've sanded them so smooth, there really isn't enough to fill with the wax. That's fine. If it's not smooth, I'll just break out the paste wax. So 99, 100, the axle. Pull up OBS. Twitch stream is super delayed. And just goes together like so. Interesting. I seem to remember early on there were some keys that go into this. Or that went into another axle, so I wonder if this will use a key too, because the ends are hollow. Yeah, you can't really see it. See if the other camera will pick it up. Okay, you can kind of see it there. That end is hollow. Also, while I'm here, on one side. Yeah, of course, too bright. Yeah, you can kind of see two little marks on that middle section. One side's a plus, one side's a minus. And you actually will use that for keying in or for figuring out which end gets two of these little rings and which end gets the big ring and little ring. So go back, find where that's at, because these parts are ever so slightly asymmetrical. The side that gets two little rings is the plus side. They just kind of fit on there. The outer one is very loose. So that's why I'm hoping there's a key. And then on the minus side, the larger ring goes on first towards the middle, and then the smaller ring goes on second. And we've got an axle. So on the next step, oh boy, we'll set that aside. Switch to the external webcam. I love how it does that. So is there a thing here? Yeah, who knows? We will be starting on the handle, which is made up of a bunch of pieces that radially fit around a center hub piece. And they are all on board 4. So these go around the outside to form the handle that you actually grab. And then this piece here goes in the middle. These little C-sections here will clamp onto that. These guys kind of look like dragons or something. And then this piece here, the ends on this end piece here will fit into that. And this axle that we just made does go down the middle of the handle, and it does get two of those microscopic little keys. These guys. Let's switch some cameras and start cutting out all these lovely pieces. We also have these two pieces, which are the lever of the crank handle. Looks like 4 tabs per thing, maybe only 3. Let's see what we got. Yeah, just 3. So we'll cut or we'll try to cut the tabs. There it goes. Laser cut pieces, man. Even fitting a knife edge is tough at times. I'm just kind of working the tabs as I see them, because with so many pieces, it'll be faster to keep my hand in a straight line as opposed to working piece by piece. Helps if I cut the last piece in the set too. Hee hee. Hee 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 hee. So I had debated about playing a game while doing this tonight. Decided against it, and I might actually stream a Let's Play of it later on. But it's a game I can play without using hands. But I think for the audio tone of these assembly videos, the device I would be using would be too loud. So there's all those. And cut these tabs. Thank goodness it's Friday. I don't have to worry about going to work tomorrow, so I can stream till 2 a.m. if I really wanted to. I'm gonna just work until I'm tired. Or until I'm tired enough that I need to end the stream, maybe. Would be a better statement. I saw the Nostalgia Nerd. He did a test run the other week for Twitch streaming, and he's announced that he's going to start Twitch streaming more regularly. He does some really cool YouTube videos, and I'm looking forward to Twitch streams. I already have him set up to auto host on my Twitch channel, so he'll be in the rotation there. If you have time when he's streaming, definitely check it out. He has a lot of really cool videos about old gaming systems, old PCs, old tech, and he's willing to put his money where his mouth is and actually get some of the old systems to try them out. Stuff that he didn't necessarily get as a kid. There's still... Is that a spare piece? Yeah, there's a spare piece on this right there. But other than that spare piece, this card is completely, well, almost completely dead. We've got 2 more of these 102s. Oh, I hear the kittens. And actually, one of those 102s, a spare 102, for that matter, stays in, and the other one is used for this step. And I will see if I can cut out 2 of these little keys. I'm calling them keys, they're more like wedges, but I don't really have a good term for that, for them. A lot of keys are used, like there's a Woodruff key that you use on a motor shaft to prevent you know, the device or the pulley or what have you that's on the shaft from spinning loose on the shaft. Because it's a big problem with like pulleys that are held on with set screws, where the set screw will work its way loose and start spinning on the shaft, chew the shaft up, chew the pulley up, and then you kind of SOL and have to get both a new pulley and new shaft. Assuming that shaft is a standalone shaft and it's not sticking out of like a motor, because motors get pricey fast. Should have checked this beforehand, but this ring piece is not directional, thank goodness. I need to stop holding the pieces up while I'm assembling so it's actually on camera. Or actually, it is directional. Question is does that directionality actually matter? I don't think it does. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. If it does, I'll get some type of shim to slide these back off. In worst case scenario, I have to glue some pieces in place because I've broken tabs or something. I can't see the directionality of that piece being all that important. So now I have the axle, and this side has a skinny pulley and a fat pulley, and this side has two skinny pulleys. It says the side with the skinny and the fat goes up inside. And basically what this is doing, yeah, is it makes it so that this handle can rotate on the shaft. Because you're going to be cranking the instrument with this, and if the handle had to rotate in your hand, it would be a rather unpleasant experience. And then we take this ring and then try to align, how many pieces is that? So we've got the axle and 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 handle sides. So we just kind of wiggle them about, get them where they're close-ish. Work your way around. If you can get them started just a little on one end and then work on the other end, or then work on, not the other end, adjacent pieces, just kind of work your way around, they all just kind of naturally fall in. Once you get the tips of all of them in, you get a fully assembled handle. That will spin. Now, of course, that little bushing on this side that I mentioned was loose is still loose, and it worked its way up. And then we take these two handle or lever pieces, stack them like so. And, you know, we've got the side that has 2 arms and the side that has 1 arm. And the 1 arm side goes on the end of this axle. So I'm just going to put them on one at a time. You can see you've got the lever and the handle. So we now have a hand crank. And that actually, you know, like the keys that went in the neck, they were 2 pieces and they kind of wanted to wiggle apart. This one doesn't really want to do that. And next, we put in a key. And what these keys do is they spread the axle. And we'll use a metal hammer on this, but very lightly. Hence why I hold the hammer in the middle. Totally wrong way to hold a hammer. But if all you're doing is wanting to tap something with less than full force, it works quite nicely. I'm going to push this bushing back down and shove it down in the middle. Push the bushing down a little bit farther. And give this key a good shot. Kind of a pretty looking piece. A little rough on the hand, but since you won't be sliding it in your hand, the little divisions, the little 8 side pieces, do act as very rough knurling. But that'll work. And move the hammer out of the way. Wish that camera didn't jump like that, but oh well. And now we're on to putting some pieces into the end of the neck. Namely, these long pieces and a gear. So let's see what we have going on here. I think I lost a piece somewhere or something. So there should be a spare piece here. And there doesn't appear to be. Or maybe I'm wrong. No, I am wrong. I am looking for piece 88. Which comes off of panel 1. So let's check panel 1 really quick. Oh, I haven't used any of 88. It is all of these are here on the side. These are smaller versions of these little ram horn pieces and wedges that we've been using that we used on the neck. I've not used a single one. Cool, not missing pieces or anything. Yet. Give me time. I have plenty of time to screw this up still. Like right when I finish it and drop it before I can play it. And then I immediately go on Amazon, buy another one, assemble it off camera, edit it in live, so you don't even know that it happened. Because that's something I totally am able to do. So we've got one of those and 2 gears off of panel 5. Which, yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot on panel 5 because it's completely empty. So I'll set that over there. Oh, this one's just spare parts. Let's go through this real quick. Spare and spare. This one does not, has parts that are not spares. These two are spares. These are spares. Oh, and there's even spares here. I guess they provided plenty of spare parts in case you break something. Alright, so I need gear 87, which is going to be on this triangular piece that I cut out of panel 5. I like how it gets it perfectly in focus and decides, nope, never mind, I don't want to do that. So there are 2 of these on here that are real and 1 spare. So cut these out. There is one. Switch to the other camera, give you a little bit better view. Putting it off to the side helps, even though the decision to do that was more of a practical one than a one to help the angle. I've got the Focus Crazy webcam on a small tripod, little Benro aluminum one. And then the other camera I have on a large Manfrotto video tripod, simply because the even better Cartoni is behind the girlfriend, and every time I think about grabbing it, she's in the middle of a stream. Oh, so there's 88 and a 111 on this, and the only difference between these is these are 111 here, these are 88. So the 111s, if I put an 88 on top of it, you can see 111's longer. So I've got these gears, got my 88, I will have my 2 pieces. Of course, they label these F1 and F2. I don't remember which is which, so I'll have to flip back in the manual. A whole whopping 2 pages. So F1 is long, F2 is short. Help me remember that, because I'm going to forget in just a minute. And we have another viewer. Thank you for watching. Feel free to type in chat, interact, do whatever. I do look up at it, I promise. I'm gonna kind of mash this end in place. Start putting wax on these gear teeth. Just as the instructions tell me that I must do this. You must obey. That's a nice big clump. Use the hobby knife kind of as a scraping scalpel. I don't know if you can hear the other half in the other room. Friday night, they're playing Dead by Daylight on Twitch. And being all dramatic about it. But, hey, they're having fun. I'm just kind of doing this because I'm going to be assembling it anyway. Maybe someone will enjoy watching it. Maybe they won't. Don't care. There's no money in it for me, and I'll just have a good time doing it. Plus it lets me play with some camera stuff and mic stuff that I don't play with as much as I would like to. And it makes me have a good excuse. So we will grab the neck. F1 is longer. And this says F1 goes in the hole on this side after I put the gear in place. So the gear goes right in there. Let's see if I can see. Luckily, this gear is supported on both sides. So this actually interfaces. Let's see if I can get a good angle. Significant gear ratio, you know, gear reduction going on here. But the gear you see moving is actually the one that will wrap the string around. So we have a tiny gear to a medium gear to a tiny gear to a huge gear. And the medium and the second tiny gear are on an axle attached to each other, so they spin at the same rotation. So we've gone through basically 2 gear reductions here. I'll set that up there. turn it a bit, and then hooray, more waxing. I have another gear to wax, and then I put this in on the other side. I'm going to smush the end of this wax, make it a little bit more malleable. Luckily, there's not a ton of teeth on this gear. And the other good thing is I could leave some extra wax in here. And when I put it in and grind the gears, it'll actually wax everything. And I'll take the little clumps and I'll scrape them a little, just so I don't have tons of wax on everything. Because too much wax is just as bad as not enough. It's probably worse, to be honest. So I'll take this. Thankfully, the noise I hear from the other room is not loud enough to release the gate that I have on the mic. She is quite loud right now. But she's getting into it and having fun. So we've got our next little waxed gear. That one actually goes right here in between these two pieces. We kind of get it lined up there. And get it in far enough to where it'll mesh up with the gears. Then I can rotate the gear to align with the hole right here. And then I take F2, the other crank, and just push it through. As far as it'll go. Since it's supported on both sides, you know, through this tiny piece here and this piece here. See if I can get some light in there. Yeah, it's so hard to get on camera. And since it's supported on both sides, I don't really have to worry about splitting the gear. Again, sticks at first, and then I crank it a few times. And it frees right up as the wax gets spread across all those gear teeth pretty evenly. And see if I can get a good view of, you can see that middle gear turning. Then you have top gear turning there at a much lower speed. And there's another page done. So, okay. I did miss a step on the previous page. That's okay, we can handle it on this page too, because I need another piece of 88. And what it is these cranks on either side have a little hole that you can actually fit these wedges into. Also helps if you put the cranks in far enough that those holes are exposed. So we will go after a second 88 wedge. And let's see here. I'm actually going to use needle nose pliers on this because these pieces are so ridiculously tiny that the flat side goes up against this piece and a nice rounded tip goes through and get in there with an actual finger. Boy, that adds a ton of resistance to the turning of this. I bet you it'll smooth out though, just with some friction, but you don't want these things too loose because honestly, if they were too loose, then as soon as you tightened up the string, it would start loosening on you. And there are those. I'm going to switch up to the big camera for right now. And yeah, listen to that squeak. That's that initial friction. Give it a few turns though, you actually mar the grains of the veneer on the outside of the plywood, and it just rubs itself smooth. Friction. So this says, hey, we're done with this. This is now called Part H. Little door on the front. Ah. And I'm glad I switched to the webcam. Because guess what we're doing? We're putting these on. Now it says to wax these. I haven't been waxing a lot of these joints. Hopefully that will not come to bite me in the rear. This has, if I show it at an angle you can see, yeah, it has a little hook on the bottom, two little prongs there, and it has these hooks over here. And from the looks of it, might be better if I had this underneath propping it. So it's one of those fun things where everything has to kind of fit at once. And it says clack, which I'm guessing means that this thing's going to make an audible sound when it fits into place. Like I said, all the pins have to line up at once. So these down here are good. The pins that are upper are a little out. And I believe that's our clack. Yeah. It does absolutely clack into place. So now we have a hurdy-gurdy. It's mostly assembled. We're gonna switch to the other camera and kind of show off how it looks. So we've got the keys here. You know, I've got 2 compressors on this mic and it still peaks super easy. Hooray for condensers. Have the lift up lid. Just friction fit on this side. Very classical and steampunky feel at the same time on this guy. And then we get to fit the handle. This is where those 111 pieces fit in. So I will attempt to cut one of these off. And poke it out. And then take this handle after I flip the instructions. And it says align this with the long part with the hole up and down. And then slide the lever on. So I tell you what, that is a tight fit. And that's as far as that'll go. But we can take this piece, which has a hole bigger than the diameter of the shaft. Make sure that's not in there, and then hammer some more. Might be better use the back of the hammer. Do that until, guess what? Can't fit anymore. You grab another scrap piece, make sure it all lines up. Hold it in place as best you can. Yeah, it's real dark. Try hard not to hammer your fingers to death. And we're on. And this 111 wedge, if we go like this, will be going through like so. And now I go here and I can actually listen to that beautiful piece. I'm going to see here. Compressor, channel 1. See what this suggests. Turn this gain down a little. Is that better? Yeah, that's a lot better. Wow, the more I turn this, the smoother it gets. So here comes the fun part. On the next page, we'll put together the base. We'll set that up here. Sorry, that might have been loud. It was right in front of the mic. And we will take all of the remaining base pieces, which I believe there are 3 of them. I think everything else is spares. Cut them out. And when this is all done, I'm probably going to take a little bit of time and sand all of the edges and corners. I mean, this initial sanding I did on day 1, you know, removed most of these burrs. But plus. You know, if I can just soften some of the edges a bit, I have a feeling this thing will feel a lot better in the hand. Then I've got to string it up and see if it actually makes sound. After I do a little bit of sanding on that flywheel. I'm probably never going to be happy with how smooth it is unless I figure out a way to like get a tiny belt sander in place or something. But if I can at least get a lot of the super noticeable unevenness out of it, I'll be okay. Is that it? No. This piece. And I thought I did this one. Michael Cthulhu came out with a new video today, a 2-hour sword build. Given it was a lot more basic than his typical swords, it was still impressive to watch him run around and make a sword inside of 2 hours. There are the 3 pieces for the base. We've got a fancy side and a plain side. And okay, so these don't have any special deal. They just mate together in a cross pattern. Yes, I'm not showing you these pieces up close, so sue me. They're loose. Then put them on here. Everything will tighten right up. Very light taps. Now it's moving at most a millimeter a tap. That's okay. I can live with that. It's just to get it on and in place so that I can then pick it up and push this bottom ring into stand uprights. A lot of dish holders and plate holders and award holders and stuff use the same basic methodology of two L-shaped pieces that either cross each other or form a V on some hinges. And there we go. And now it talks about stringing it, sanding the flywheel, and all of that. But before we do that, try putting this on there. So if this crank is all the way up, it does not hit the tabletop. See if this fits into the other camera. Most certainly does not. If I bring it closer, it'll probably go out of focus. Go. Not the most rock solid of stands, to say the least. I mean, it's honestly quite a bit too small. And this crank, if you look, does go below the bottom line of the instrument, and it goes above, if I can get some online, yeah, it goes above there and below there. So it's not something you can really hold up close and crank it because you're going to be hitting your stomach. You definitely need to hold it like that. And if I'm not mistaken, you actually hold it over and play it like this. Of course, we will find out. Should be almost done with everything. Gonna put the stand off to the side. And let's see here. It says first, sand this flywheel and make sure that it is smooth. Spent quite a bit of time on it, even a little bit off camera. But now that we have a crank, still have some unevenness here. I almost think I ought to focusing on the high spot, or on the side that's actually higher. So that I can only sand where I need to. Have another high spot here on the other side. I'm actually using some 220 here instead of the 320 I've been using. Tempted to grab some 120 and then reattack it with the 220 after the fact. Exciting stuff here, Sandy. I wonder if the other camera will show this a little better. Making sure that when I do stop and start in a new place that it overlaps with the last place a little. I do my best to avoid high spots. I do want to try to keep this wheel as round as possible. There's some definite teething action on this wheel from where the stepper motors weren't the smoothest. So let's take a look, a feel here. Put my finger on it. And I definitely feel some roughness. Of course, I also have the wheel a little bit uneven. The handle's already coming off on me. Not supposed to do that. You know what? I think I might have this. Follow the instructions on where the axle actually goes. But I wonder if the instructions, it seems like it would have made more sense to have the axle. Yeah? Would have made more sense to me to put the axle in the handle the other way so that it would keep it from coming out. Oh, I see. There's no real way to do that. Did I miss a step here? It's possible. Thankfully, I do have a spare key. I did miss a step. That is entirely on me. Let's see here. One of these pieces will have another 102. $52.47. Yeah. What's this piece here? So here comes the fun bit. That key, and they're good. Can I walk it out? I can. And taking that off the end. I've damaged the key? Not really. I mean, there is a spare key and it wouldn't be that difficult to replace it if I needed to. Face the other way. Put this on. There we go. And then fit the key in. And now this handle's rock solid. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Yeah, just this motion is over one turn of the wheel. So these gear changes, gear reductions and all that certainly are doing a bit. So let's see here. Let's cut the sandpaper. Just cutting a bit of the sandpaper disc off. Then I can fold it in thirds yet again. Kind of use it to brown the gear. I'm actually going to pull this back so I can just crank the gear a bit, because I want to. I was noticing that Well, we'll see how that works. If it doesn't work well, I can always take the strings off and redo it. There's base assembly. All right, use fishing line supplied. So this says 3/4 of a meter, but it's showing 3/4 of a meter on either side. So I'm guessing they mean cut this in half. Which is what I'm going to do. I mean, there's enough room on the tensioners that you can simply cut it in half. Hey, it's 12:05. It's now Saturday. You can certainly have quite a bit on those tuner spools. If these, you know what, instead of doing that, I have actual cutters of all types in here. Why not actually use those? All right. Attention. The set includes rosin. It is used to increase the friction of the treated surface of the part. So this says I need to pick the rosin up, which is this little really hard cube in a plastic bag that's actually crumbled a little. And I need to crank the instrument while holding the rosin to the wheel. Oh, it's definitely rubbing on the wheel a bit. I definitely see the rosin crumbling as I do this. I could try cranking this on this side. Not really putting any pressure on this, but it's certainly wanting to stick. And I do see scoring marks in here. Let's switch over. And it says on this flippy bit, there are 2 holes. Take 1 string, loop it up through the hole that is closest to me, and bring it back. Okay, done. And oh boy, is that a knot. It looks like a noose almost. So that comes up. I'm gonna need a bit more. That comes up. Create a loop. Wrap it around 3 times. 1, said 1, 2, then 3. Then we will use the tip that I wrapped around and go through the loop. That is, if I can get it to go through said loop. Alright, let's try this again. This time with a little bit more string to mess with. It goes up, create a small loop. Wrap this around once, wrap it around twice. Wrap it around 3 times, then bring it up through said loop and on this side of the string. And then we pull both ends, and it's supposed to tighten like a noose. It looks nothing like the picture, but who cares? It works. And then we will use the other string, and it says do it again. So we'll wrap it around. Once. Twice. And a 3rd time, where we bring it up, pass the end through the loop, and pull them both tight. Now I have less waste on this one. Theoretically, at least. Yeah, this one looks worse. But it's tight. I'm gonna adjust both these cams all the way down. Open this top up. The string towards the camera there, towards you, goes through the middle here. And then, oh boy, is this a long string. Through this hole. Okay. And it says, rotate the tensioners so you can actually see the holes. And this is going to be a blast, because you go through the far hole. I'm going to pull that all the way through. And then you loop back up through the near hole. I've not really shown this because there's not really a good way to show it. Such a tight space. And okay, so we've got that. So it's basically a square knot that it's having us do here. So we loop back. And we loop back. Pull it tight. And we have a square knot. Then we will cut that off. Cut that off. And we will guide this string on here by cranking. And it just came untied. And out of the hole. Something tells me that although a square knot is relatively strong, I should probably do like a double square or something, or triple square. Loop it back and forth quite a few times. I'd be lying if I said the idea of melting it so that it kind of centered itself together didn't cross my mind. Alright, let's do this again. Only this time with less untying. We do that. That. Do a couple more. Alright, try this again. Ah. Because I didn't cut that scrap off. Well, that's just lovely. Okay. Let's do it exactly as they say. So this goes over. And then this goes around. That does not seem right. Because that one goes like that. And this comes back up and goes under like so. And I've tied 1,000,000 square knots in the past. Of course, square knots are fickle beasts. And then we take this. At least it appears to be working better now. Well, this is a lot of gear turning. It's only feeding. For every hand twist, we're feeding maybe 3 to 5 millimeters of the string. It is spooling up on the winder really nicely. Very evenly, very symmetrically. Hey, we've hit 2 hours. This is officially my longest stream as far as I can remember. So we have a string that's taut. Now let's do the other one. Same deal. I'm going to follow the instructions on the knot exactly. We go down. We loop back up. Saw me struggle on the close up. Now you can see me struggle on the wide shot. Going through? We are going through. All right, so we go over and back around underneath. Pull that tight. I really want to like grab the heat gun and melt these strings just a hair, but I know that is a really bad idea. Okay. Then we pull this string back, go over and under, and pull them both. Tight again. Then I take this and I cut off the end of that string. Leaving maybe, I don't know, 7 millimeters. And poop. One thing I didn't remember to do, feed the string through the hole in the neck bridge. See if I can untie it without having to cut. Struggle is real, people. What was the acronym on the spot from this week? RPP, Rich People Problems. First world problems, you know the whole deal. Shame too, because I did that not properly the first time this time. So, do this again. Tap it over. Pull it top. Pull this back and over, under, that top. Then rotate the string a little, or the winder a little. I can cut this off relatively close. Now the trick is we have to provide some tension on this string as we wind. Not too much. Just enough to keep it taut me sit here for the next 3 years winding a string. This is this rather insane gear reduction. I'm gonna watch this and make sure it winds properly, because this one looks like it could easily cross wind. Not that that would be the end of the world, but I would rather keep the windings clean. Fix that over. I can. Well, that's a decent amount of nylon string left. These are nylon strings, not metal. I think the instructions even calls it just fishing line. So it doesn't say what weight. That would affect tonality of the instrument. Keep cranking. Cranking. It's Al cranking. Bad jokes. Another nice thing about streaming while I'm working on this stuff is if I talk to myself, I don't seem so crazy. Okay, whatever. It's going to wind how it's going to wind. So close. I've got the drone lever in the off position. I think that's the off. Alright, strings are on and wound. I just need to trim this one at this end. Left about 3 millimeters there for those keeping track. Wind and wind. There's actually videos on tuning. And the idea is you turn these cams here. So that the string is I'm going to turn this one up to where it's not engaging. If I turn this up, it mutes it. Alright, now let's turn this one. Turn it down. Close the lid. It's horribly out of tune, but see what it does. And you turn the drone on. Ha! Yeah, right. You can hear some undulation in the tonality there, and that's because this wheel is not perfectly round. And it's not rubbing perfectly. So, I mean, there's some QR codes on the manual here that talk about tuning. And then it goes into notes. But that's badly out of tune. So, hopefully I can figure out how to use this rosin correctly. And most of the rosin I'm used to, might have to check the studio. I might have some better rosin. The rosin I'm used to isn't hard as a freaking brick. It's at least a little gummy. I think this rosin might be bad. So I'm thinking what these spacings are here on the keys. They kind of remind me of piano groupings, you know, where we can have a C and all of that. But I'm not really sure why they're spaced the way they are. That's something to learn. I can tell that portion of the flywheel needs to go back. But we'll see how this goes. I think I'm gonna call it a night. That sounds a lot better, but tighten it up. All right, well, I'm going to tune this off camera and go play with it a bit. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.